Welcome back to From the South. Recently, negotiations are taking place in Doha, the capital of Qatar, between the Palestinian Islamic resistance movement Hamas and the Israeli regime. These negotiations have so far proceeded quickly and positively. Our correspondent in Gaza, Huda Hegazi, brings us more details.
In recent days, the negotiations taking place in Qatar's capital of Doha between the Palestinian Islamic resistance movement Hamas and the Israeli regime, with the participation of intermediaries from Egypt and Qatar, as well as senior officials of the U.S. administration, including the special envoy of future President Donald Trump and the special envoy of U.S. President Joe Biden, have been going quite fast and have evolved quite positively. According to several Israeli and Arab media, it was expected that the signing of the agreement would be officially proclaimed these days, either by the Hamas movement or by the Israeli regime. However, the final aspects are still under discussion. And today, the Qatari foreign minister announced at a press conference the latest developments in these negotiations. The minister assured that the two sides had advanced in a quite positive way and had reached an agreement on the main aspects of these negotiations. And apparently, in these last few days, the mediators have already drafted the last final proposal and have delivered it either to the Hamas movement or to the Israeli regime, so that they accept it without any modification, and that will be the proposal that will be carried out and will be implemented in the moment in which they are accepted. And therefore, at this moment, as assured by the Qatari Foreign Ministry, the last aspects are being discussed in terms of moving from the first phase to the second phase, which would take place after 16 days of the implementation of this agreement, such as how would be the withdrawal of the Israeli army and the return of the Gazans to the northern part of the Gaza Strip, and therefore there are still several aspects to discuss, but it was clearly assured that they are already in the last phase of these negotiations, and at any moment the ceasefire can be proclaimed, but it is still unknown after the proclamation when its implementation will begin, as it can be after 12 hours, after 24 hours, or even after 48 hours. However, and up to this moment, the news is quite positive, and even the administration of the Rafah border crossing has already been informed that in the coming days it will open its doors, but it will not be for the passage of people. It will only be opened for the entry of humanitarian aid and fuel, also to be able to allow the wounded and the patients from the Gaza Strip to receive treatment abroad. And therefore, we can say that these hours are quite decisive. At any moment, the ceasefire can be proclaimed, and we will be waiting for the official declaration, either by the intermediaries or by the Hamas movement, as long as there is no last-minute inconvenience. However, there are still several extreme right-wing ministers in Netanyahu's cabinet, such as Itamar Ben-Gvir, such as Bezalel Smotrich, who are still not convinced of this proposal. They claim that this would be a defeat for Israel and a victory for Hamas, and they have even threatened Benjamin Netanyahu that if this proposal is accepted, they would withdraw from the cabinet, and in that case, we would be talking about the defeat and the destruction of Netanyahu's cabinet, and therefore, at this moment, even what Benjamin Netanyahu is doing is trying to convince these two ministers to accept this proposal so that it does not harm his cabinet, and therefore we can say that these hours are very decisive.